Okay, so let's do a live rapid video. Why is my camera always doing that? We're going to start by fixing the camera and doing at least two warm-up puzzles. Let me just lower the brightness down, make it just a bit better. So confusing. Okay, and I have earphones now, which I hope is going to make the sound just a bit more bearable. Whenever I listen to chess videos, sound quality makes such a huge difference. Okay, yeah, brightness looks good. So I'm thinking we're gonna do three puzzles and try and focus on getting them right. So first one, first instinct. Oh, I wanted to fix another thing. You can't see my cursor on the screen. Kind of sucks. I'm gonna see if I can fix that really quickly. Nah, I don't want to meddle with stuff too much. So let's see. Queen h5 check looks like a good beginning, and black has to stay trained on the defense of the rook, so king f8, and then check, king f7, queen h7. So he has nothing. Actually, queen h5, he can play bishop g6 and defend. Hmm. What if I take the rook right away? Yeah, so rook g8, king g8, queen g4, and I think king f8. Yeah, that's the one. Because I can either promote or checkmate. And in this case, I guess I'm going to push the pawn and he has no way to stop promotion. Yeah, nice. So that's the first one. Second one, I'm seeing we can push to victory, but not quite because knight e3 comes and stops our pawn. Looking at knight takes, king f1 gets closer to the pawn. That's a bummer. Let's look at d2 again because it forces our opponent's hand. And then maybe take king f1, take on f4. You're defending e2, so he can't actually get the king any closer, kind of like that. d2 takes on f4, and basically, oh, we can also take this pawn, but I was thinking g5 too. And he just can't win the pawn anytime soon, and we can advance with our king and win his pawns. That's nice. Two, and we said we'll do three. I don't have to do Zen mode. I haven't played on this account in a while. I actually recorded a video accidentally on my main account, which I try not to do because I'm still trying to prepare somewhat seriously. It looks like black was counting on queen g5 to trade these rooks. Like, yeah, rook takes and then queen check. And then looks like he has perpetual maybe because the queen is defending the rook once the king moves. You could see my cursor, this would have been so much easier. So queen g5 checking f8, queen g8 checking e7, queen g5. So maybe rook takes h4 is not the move because the bishop's slicing through. Ooh, okay. So leading from that, we can take the bishop because then we can take the rook, queen g5, king d7, and otherwise rook takes bishop, rook takes rook, rook takes d5 check. Nice. Now queen g5 is not a perpetual. King f8 is not forced. We can go here and the rook is defended. Nice. Okay, so we did three puzzles just as a small warm-up. Let's hop into a rapid game. I'm not feeling that focused today, but that's fine. We don't play only when we're sure we're going to win. Losing is also good. It's a learning experience. It's gonna be fine. Yeah, so I played Really nice game in the Jabava London with some interesting tactics that you guys can't see, unfortunately. I debated with a friend whether I should upload it or not. Decided against it just because I kept my main account hidden, and why would I show it now? Hmm. I've been to chess cafes in a few cities around the world. I've been to one in Amsterdam and Rome. I was wondering if you guys know of any. Do you guys play in any? Maybe I should have started off by looking for a game, but it's fine. Oh, here we go. We're black. Usually I play without ratings, but that's okay. Hello, good luck. Hello, good luck. So, Sicilian, and we see forgot the name of this one. Well, good luck to my opponent. Knight f6 has some complicated theory. It's kind of a sideline. I want to turn off the ratings, so I'll do that quickly. Let's see. Hmm, Display maybe? Here we go. Show player ratings. No. Oh, except in game. That's good. Here we go. And now I like taking with the d pawn just because in my specific system against this opening, it's all about controlling d4. Now I'm attacking e4, so probably knight c3 or d3 are gonna be here. d4 I feel like is a bad move. Well, obviously it doesn't defend e4. So now bishop g4 could be a good move, but I'm not a big fan of doing that right away because you might need that bishop to defend c4 because that's a weakened square. I'm gonna go with g6, just developing normally, putting my bishop on the long diagonal, again geared towards attacking d4. Yeah, interesting opening. The main line, by the way, so widely tactical. This line, okay, so he prevents bishop g4, he doesn't want to see it. That's fine by me. I wasn't gonna play it. Maybe sometime in the future. Usually if they play e5 early, I go knight d5 and maneuver the knight to d5, c7, e6, d4. Weird maneuver. And then bishop g4 can be pretty good, but not so early. Okay, so we castle. Our opponent is developing normally. Now, if he castles, I'm gonna go with rook e8, I think. I'm going for e5. And our doubled pawns are actually doing a good job of defending central squares. This knight is restricted. This knight and this pawn are restricted. And with e5 here, it's not an incredibly active bishop e3. b6, I think, defending the pawn very simply. Queen d2, so looks like our opponent is looking to castle queenside. Again, I'm thinking about rook e8 just because bishop h6 and I like playing bishop h8, keeping my bishop and using white's bishop as a weird kind of shelter for my own king. And if my opponent is planning on a kingside attack, he already wasted a tempo with h3. He might play h4. If he plays g4, h3 makes some sense, I guess. Yeah, that's fine. So most sensible is going to be castle queenside, and I'm thinking of a bunch of stuff. One of castles queenside, e5 or a5 are my two main thoughts. I'm not too afraid of e5 by white, which is why I'm thinking a5 maybe first, just trying to pry open some squares. But on the other hand, if my opponent, just lets me advance with a5, a4, can play a3 then, and I'm not really seeing how I'm breaking through. So I'm not sure if I'm a big fan of that. So maybe e5, bishop e6, and kind of playing in the center, planning on c4, something like that. Or e5, knight h5, knight f4. Also a cool setup. A lot of dark squared central play in this variation. Yeah, so I'm thinking white is probably thinking about castling queenside or bishop h6 or castling kingside, though not as likely, I think. It's more ambitious to go the other way in this position, if you ask me. G4 might also be a candidate move for him, but I don't think. I think it's premature. G4, E5, castle kingside. Yeah, I'm not impressed by that. I would have definitely went queenside, but for some reason he was worried about that. So E5 maybe? Now it's what I wanted to play, but I'm not in a hurry to play E5. E5 might seem weird to some of you, just blocking in my bishop. It is a standard idea in this position. The bishop is well suited to support that pawn, supporting such a strong center, stronghold on d4 and holding d5, and I have no central weaknesses. And again, the bishop also helps control f4 in an indirect manner in that case, because e5 supporting f4, and then if it's taken, it opens up the bishop. Standard idea by white is to push a4, a5, and without my actual mouse, so it's the mouse pad, it's kind of annoying, but that's fine. But I don't want to play a5 prematurely. If my opponent plays a4, I will think about it. For now, e5 probably, and then see where my bishop belongs in the light squared bishop. Maybe queen c7 could come next. Queen c7 might have been a good move. Previous move too, but I don't mind e5. I was wondering about, I might have talked about it in a previous video, about that streamer, Tyler One, I think he's called, who just shot up. His rating went insanely high within a year. Made me think about the way young people are always so quickly advancing. Everyone in tournament players tend to be so young. Could it be that it has nothing to do with the actual age? Just to keep in my knight, I'm just stepping off. Queen c7. I will want to put a rook on d8 at some point to oppose his queen. This also supports f4 if I do place a knight there. So my opponent is going for f4, even more of a reason to go with knight h5. Knight h5, f4, pawn takes, bishop takes, knight takes, queen takes, rook takes. And then I have the bishop pair, nice position, maybe bishop e6. Yeah, I like it. And if g4, knight f4 still, that's just going to be a beautiful knight and beautiful pawn if he takes. So yeah, I was wondering if it's just about the ability of children to hyperfixate on something to such an extent, because as adults we don't get excited over stuff. I play chess a lot, but not as much as I did when I was younger, and I don't study as intensely. I used to just practice puzzles non-stop until I got to 26, 2700 rated puzzles. I don't do that anymore. Right now, I think you saw that I'm rated 2400, but that's pretty high for me for puzzles. Bishop h6, and I like my bishop. It might seem odd, but I do like it. I'm going to play bishop h8 and keep it. So my opponent is really trying to push through f4. And now I can't place my knight though, because knight f4, knight takes, bishop takes. They don't have enough defense. Now I'm thinking about bishop a6, trying to push through c4 and go at the center another way. Also clearing out d8 for my... Hmm. No, that made me think of f5, but my king is so weak. On the other hand, my opponent doesn't really have a way to take advantage of the light squares. He's two squares away, two moves away from even giving a check without any threat. You know, if I play f5. f5, f4, who benefits from the center opening up so aggressively? I think he does. My king is so open, though I do have the bishop there, I have to remember. f5, f4. Thinking f5 is defended by the bishop, so maybe e takes f5, knight takes, bishop takes. Hmm, not sure. It's just so weakening. My worry is that otherwise bishop a6 is so slow, you know? c4, is that a thing right away? D takes c4, bishop a6, b3, rook a d8, attacking the queen. I'm not impressed by that, not at all. But it could be I'm just overestimating White's position though. Maybe he's just fine. Bishop a6, f4, takes. Queen d7. I'm not sure. Oh, it's a nice move once he plays it. I just feel like I have to fight over some space on the king side. So again, f5, f4. F takes e4 is also interesting. We're going to see he takes e d takes e4. Yeah, I'm gonna go for f5. If he takes right away, I'm kind of happy with the development. Oh, if he takes right away, I have to take the pawn. Oh my god, I think I missed that and he missed that too. Because if he takes and I take back with the bishop g4 is fork. So very happy to kind of dodge that. F takes e4, just sidestepping anything where he takes back. Now I want to take on f4 and expose e4 as a weakness. I do want to take on f4 just in general. Maybe, okay, so let's say he's thinking, so maybe he won't take back on e4. But let's say he does. That seems like the most sensible move to me. He's thinking of f5 maybe? No? Okay. So takes on f4, opening up my bishop. Knight takes, and then maybe knight g3. That's disgusting. I love that because I'm threatening bishop to d4. Check. Rook f2 is forced. I can just wreak havoc. So knight f4 seems likely. Again, this is the type of position where I'm taking on a lot of risk. It doesn't really matter how good my position seems to be. Okay, so maybe bishop d4 right away. I'm thinking about it just because if he goes to h8, that's a checkmate immediately. Bishop d4, rook f2. Hmm, not sure. Honestly, maybe knight taking on e4 could be strong too if he defends the checkmate. If he just plays, if he doesn't move. Knight g3 or bishop d4 check. Assume the best of your opponent. So bishop d4, rook f2. Assume he plays well. Rook d8 could also be a candidate move, but I kind of like where his queen is positioned. I'm thinking knight g3. Again, just checking, no checks on the light squares, which would destroy me if they arrive. This is the kind of position I was about to say where I'm taking on a lot of risk. Even if I end up winning a bunch of material here, I could still lose just because my king is so open. So I think rook f2 is the move. Then I can also take on b2 as an in-between move. Threaten the rook, then go back bishop d4. The c6 pawn is doing such an amazing job here. Defending against checks, knight hops. And yeah, note that now if he goes with bishop rook f2, I can take on e4. Just an absolutely disgusting position. Bishop d4, king then has h8 in case of checks on the light squares, because this bishop is restricting my king at the moment. Feeling confident. And rook f3, then I have bishop d4. Yeah, so that's what I was thinking. Now, this is the type of position where he is threatening queen b3. So knight takes f1, queen c4, let's say, queen b3, doesn't really matter, queen f7. No, that's fine. And I like my bishop more than I like my knight. So I'm not thinking about bishop d4, rook f2. Although, now that I mention it, bishop d4 check, rook f2, knight takes e4. That's just such a bummer for him. Yeah, I'm gonna go for that. Just making sure. Bishop d4 check. Rook f2 is his only move. Knight takes e4. And he might have been counting on checks, but okay, let's just calculate. Bishop d4, rook f2, knight e4, queen c4, king h8, cleared up by the bishop. And what exactly does he do? He has knight takes g6 check, but h takes g6. I'm playing it. Check. Check, king h8. The bishop defends the long diagonal. c3 could be interesting. No, knight takes f7. f2, sorry. Very complicated stuff that's going on here. c3. Yeah, so c3 is a difficult move to meet because c3 really should get a mouse here. c3, bishop takes f2. Because if I take with the knight, queen c4, and then you can take the bishop. And regardless of the material situation, I don't feel comfortable with in this position without my dark squared bishop. I'm thinking c3, bishop takes f2 check, king f1, knight is well defended, so I need to find a way to stabilize the light squares around my king. Actually, any checks and I have queen f7. You should remember that. Any checks on the light squares, because now his rook on f2 is kind of impotent. Feeling very, very good. Again, just an amazing position. Like knight takes f2, my opponent is just paralyzed. Knight takes f2, threatening the queen. Rook takes f2. What does he do? Bishop f5. It's just a disgusting position. Just develop, attack, attack. Looks good. I don't have to take that right away. I can play bishop f5 right now. I think I'm going to do that. Bishop f5. Note that again, any check I have queen f7 and the rook is still pinned to the king. And anytime I take the rook, he can't do any in-between move if he plays. Yeah, so queen f7, what I was thinking. Now, oh, maybe I did miss some. No, I didn't. It's fine. I was thinking maybe queen takes on f7, king takes g4. And then regardless of whether or not the rook is pinned, my bishop is also pinned to the king on the f file. Doesn't matter though, because I take the rooks with tempo. Both with the knight, because I am threatening knight takes h3 check, and then taking the knight on f4. Okay, opponent does not agree. Take, yeah, I think I'm good. Take on f2. If he takes back, I just take back with check and my bishop is fully defended. This is turning out to be a beautiful tactical game, so I'm glad I didn't upload the Jabava London one. So yeah, opponent is thinking about exactly what I said. Problem is I now save the knight with the gain of a pawn. Take on h3. Is there anything better whatsoever? I don't think so. Maybe. Knight g4. Knight g4. Winning the bishop. He takes on g6. Pawn takes even because everything is defended. So even if he plays king g2, I can play knight e3 and kind of forgo the material for simplicity. Could be knight e3 and I still win with the bishop just because it's so poorly placed. Knight e3 check. He cannot. Oh my god, this is such a beautiful position. Knight e3. He has to go to f3 or h1. That sucks for him. This is just as winning, but I don't want to face f takes g6. F takes any discoveries he has whatsoever? I don't think so. Still two knights and open king. Let's think about it some more. He does have knight d5 check. King g7, knight here. Nah, check. It's nothing. Let's calculate the other line. Knight e3. check, king f3, knight takes f1, knight takes maybe f takes g6, h takes, then knight f1, king is right here, check. Everything is winning. Yeah, I'm gonna take on h6. Just a beautiful position. And now that the queens are off the board and I'm leading by a full rook, king being open does not matter, even though both of our kings are open at the moment. And I'm very happy that he doesn't have discovery. E3 seems somewhat sensible, but I can play knight takes f5, just ignoring the threat on the bishop, giving up material for the sake of simplicity. But I don't think I'm gonna do that. c3, I might play bishop e5. Okay, so threatening the bishop, but I don't really care. Also threatening a fork on c7, but again, I don't really care. Just knight takes on f5, and the fork is going to be met with rook e2, so that's fine. Okay, so if he goes to c7, rook e2 check, he does not get the fork. It's an amazing game. He actually loses the knight. He can't, oh, he can defend the knight. Nice. Wonderful game. Okay, so I'll try to do my best to play like Bartholomew and kind of analyze the game before I open up the engine. So, Sicilian, what's the name of this? I gotta check. Whoop, name of this opening? Rossolimo, yeah. Sorry for being. I always forget, I get confused between the different names, Verasov, Rossolimo. Not, yeah, different types of Sicilians, Alapin. I just get confused by the names. So, yeah, I play this line with knight f6, kind of a complicated line, leads to a lot of theory. Lucky I'm using my hidden account. This is actually, I think, one of my most, um, yeah, I know this opening very well. I have a lot of wins in it. So knight to f6, just attacking the pawn. d3 is a move, knight c3 is a move. d3 is a very challenging move, actually. He takes right away. I don't think that's a very challenging line. D takes, just strengthening my control over d4. Actually, I'm going over the game again, so let's just hurry up. So I'm sure castle and queenside is gonna be better here, maybe not significant in the evaluation, but castle queenside has gotta be the move. Instead, he went with this. He still tried to attack me on the king side. I really wonder what the engine is gonna say about f5 against slow playing it. In my experience, the engine likes sacking a pawn with c4 very often in positions like this, just claiming you don't need the doubled pawn, white won't make use of the doubled pawn, just push it. But I always struggle to understand when that's appropriate. So knight e2, going for f4, and I went for f5 and f4. I think this is a blunder by me, just because e takes, they have to take, I can't take with the pawn, queen g5. Knight g7 or bishop g7. Yeah, knight g7 is forced. That position just sucks. Yeah, he should have just taken right away. I can't take with the bishop because of g4. Instead, he played f4, which was my first instinct as well. My king is open, let's open it up. The reason I decided that this wasn't such a big deal is because he doesn't have a way to take advantage of this light square diagonal. How does he get to my king? His knights are passive, they take a while to get to wherever they need to be, which is probably g4, another reason for why this bishop is not well placed. And bishop h8 was nice, and f6 is well defended. So, see what I'm saying? he doesn't have a lot of methods to attack despite the fact that my king is weak. So f4, f5 mistake, f4 another mistake, I'm sure. Here I think and now after he missed that move, I think he's just way worse and he never really recovered. Very quick win. So request a computer analysis. Let's see. This is all theory. G6, bishop G7, knight C3, oh, bishop E3, B6, queen D2. E5 is the move here. Knight takes E5, knight takes E4. Cute. And that's why I played rook E8 to allow that, but that's, I guess, too slow. No, engine doesn't mind it, but I can just see in the book that it's getting demolished very often by bishop H6. And now, moment of truth. Oh, yeah, none of the castling moves are very high up in the engine suggestions. But I do feel like from a human standpoint, castling queenside, going for a plan with G4, H4, H5, though it is difficult with me trained on G4. Yeah, maybe I'm wrong. So Queen D2, Rook E8. Lesson for me next time. E5 is better. Rook E8, castles, E5, top move. G5, Queen C7, one of the top moves. Knight H2 is fine. Knight H4, Knight H5 is also fine. And then, yeah, we're playing pretty well. No mistakes. And then F5 is not a mistake, but he should take. And it does bump the evaluation up to plus almost 1. And I have to take with G, and then Queen G5, Knight G7. And it's not that bad, once again, because he has such a hard time bringing his knights in, thanks to my strong pair of pawns. Otherwise, I would be just dead here. So F5 wasn't that bad, but F4 is just terrible. I was right that E takes is the best. That was his chance at an advantage and the only chance. And I played a 95% accuracy game. Very nice, and I don't think we even got to the inaccuracy yet. Yeah, and my inaccuracy F5 was a true inaccuracy, which the engine does not give. Sorry, but again, even if the evaluation isn't that bad, plus 0.8, this is such a terrible position compared to the one I had just a second ago. A5, Queen D6, yeah. And F4 is a blunder, just because F takes E4. F4 seemed natural to me too, because my king is open, but just it doesn't work, I guess. I played everything correctly. F takes E4, D takes, E takes F4, Knight takes, and Bishop D4 is better by a significant margin, which is not what I played. Bishop D4, Rook F2, and Knight G3 now. Why is it such a huge difference? C3, Knight takes, Queen does not have a check. Where was the Queen in the other position? Why did it? Oh, because he ignored. Okay. Oh, interesting. But now just Knight takes F1, Rook takes F1. This is that much better. This is the engine suggestion. Play C3 right away and prevent Bishop D4. I guess so. What I didn't like about this is the fact that if I'm going to go for material advantage, I'm gonna have to give away my bishop, but I guess that's not necessarily true. C3, knight takes E4, Queen F2. Yeah, just did not consider that. But anyway, he played a mistake and then check, Rook F2, knight takes E4. From this point on, yeah. So if knight G3, which is minus 1.7, is my only inaccuracy, except for F5, which I do consider to be an inaccuracy, this is a very clean game. As I said, I feel so comfortable in this opening. Queen 7, G4, knight takes F2. G takes knight g4 top move. Lucky I found that because I was thinking about just bailing out, which could be good, but just why give him the counterplay? You if you can just eliminate all chances he's blocking in your king. So find just one or two more accurate moves to finish your opponent off instead of giving him the chance to bounce back. Just remember that even if you are in a game and you're winning, don't try to, you know, settle for something that's just an advantage. Try to find the killing blow. Okay, nice game against the Rossolimo attack. Yeah, let me know if you have any trouble dealing with that opening as white or as black. Bye bye.